Charles Van Morgan. Today we are talking about we are invaded by foreign and domestic enemies. We're going to discuss that today among other things. So don't listen to what the news media is telling you, the false propaganda. We're going to tell you the truth, unbridled news. So listen up. Unbridled, truthful news. The news media is trying to sell you a lie all over the United States about what's going on with ICE agents. And we're going to tell you the truth about that. Charles Van Morgan, and the truth about that is we are being invaded by foreign and domestic enemies. At this very time, at this very moment, at the present, we're invaded. And part of a invasion is false propaganda put out by the enemy to get you to believe a lie. And that's what's going on in America right now with the major news sources, major politicians, and politicians are doing it for a reason. They're doing it for power. So come on board. Thank you. The Charles Van Morgan Show. We're going to talk about that today and present to you the unbridled truth nobody else will show you. So here we go. Let's turn this around and get into the dialogue. Here's our beautiful American flag. This is not a Venezuelan flag. This is not a Canadian flag. This is not a Mexican flag. If you live in those areas, then that's fine. Your flag is great. But this flies in America. This flies in the United States of America. And I am American. American birth certificate. A American selective service registration. And this is the flag that I fly. Anybody else that tries to put up their flag in this country, I will stand against that, and you should too. Now, the American news media is using foreign propaganda and politicians' propaganda in a war against that flag right there today in America, and there's something you can do about it. We have been invaded by foreign and domestic enemies, and the fight on their side is being perpetrated by the major national news networks and politicians and domestic enemies, as well as foreign enemies all across this country. And right now is the time we need to fight, not with bullets, with truthful information, and to fight their false propaganda. This is the Charles Van Morgan Show, unbridled news. We're going to tell you the truth, not what they're telling you, the truth about it. And we need to fight the false propaganda. So you have in the news these foreign invaders and domestic assisters that are creating acts of treason against you and this country. And I'm going to tell you what the cost is and what the continued cost of their invasion is going to be if we allow it to happen, if we allow these foreign and domestic terrorists and enemies of the United States of America, of that flag, to continue to fight and continue to occupy our land that they have no right to. And if you listen to the news media, they're just friendly people over here, and we welcome immigrants, and everything is fine except for our government, and people in our federal government that are protecting us are the enemy of us. And that is calling evil good and good evil. So you have in Minnesota, you have in Minnesota, and you have in Portland, Oregon, two incidences of our fine naturalization immigration officers, Border Patrol, fighting for your rights, fighting to protect the sovereignty of this nation. And all over the United States, the false propaganda is being put out that these are innocent victims, that they're just peaceful immigrants, that they're hardworking people, and they're just over here to make America a better place. You know, if I invaded Russia, went over there with guns and went over there with with a lot of criminality, they wouldn't call me a friendly immigrant. they would arrest me and put me in a Russian prison and probably execute me. And we have propaganda going on in the United States. These domestic terrorists and domestic enemies and are protecting foreign enemies that have already invaded this country and already are trying to take over. And our politicians, now get this, our politicians are allowing it to happen and promoting an invasion of foreign enemies and promoting falsely for domestic people in this country to welcome a foreign invasion into this country because they want to stay in power, and they're selling out the United States for votes, for power. They're selling out this country for power because they get votes from these people. And they know if they help them that they will be able to make America foreign countries and not be the country that you have the Constitution, you have your rights, and that they will stay in power and even have more power after they get rid of you by getting rid of your constitutional rights and bring all these foreigners in here who will vote for them. And they are giving them positions of power in the government. Right now they have positions of power. They've already invaded us. And they're continuing to come, and they're staking ground and staking their flags down and staking their occupation down and fighting us in America, in the United States of America right now. And the propaganda war is going on, and I'm here to dispel that propaganda war. These people are foreign enemies of the United States of America, sent by some governments over to this country to invade this country and take over our political system, take over our positions of power, and use politicians and people in power to invade this country and take it over. Not by bringing soldiers at the borders to come in shooting and fighting and killing us, to bring illegal immigrants into this country to cross over the country in secrecy, hidden by night, in trucks by the truckloads, and bring them into this country and protect them with propaganda, causing the citizenry in the United States to protect them with false propaganda and fight against us and literally attack our Border Patrol that is trying to deport them and regain our sovereignty. We have already lost a huge part of it. And the political system and the propaganda is a part of it. And I'm going to dispel that today. We need to fight, and it's not with bullets. We'll let the Border Patrol deal with that, and evidently they're doing a pretty damn good job of it, fighting enemies of this country that have came over here and staked ground that doesn't belong to them. It belongs to me and you. It doesn't belong to them. And I hate it. I really do, that some of them are getting killed in Oregon and Minnesota. And there probably should be more instances of that. It speaks to the level of de-escalation and compassion of the Border Patrol that more of this is not going on. It could have went on legally a lot, and it might escalate if they start taking a hands-off approach and just fighting the war as it maybe have to be fought if that's what they choose, if they don't pack up their bags and get the hell out of this country. But the news media and politicians are behind them, and a lot of war, in any war, is fought by propaganda, not just bullets. And we're not going to fight it by bullets. Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. I'm peaceful. I support our Border Patrol agents, but we need to fight, and I ask you to join me. Subscribe to the channel. By fighting this illegal immigrants and this false propaganda and these domestic enemies that are supporting foreign invaders, we need to fight that with truthful information, truthful propaganda, because they're putting out a hell of a lot of false propaganda. And they've got the news media that pipes 24/7 news, 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, piping out this false propaganda for foreigners, people in other countries, and they're getting the assistance. They're getting the assistance of the news media and propaganda and politicians putting out this false propaganda and lying to the American people and trying to paint our Border Patrol agents that are trying to protect the sovereignty of the United States for a lot of reasons that I'll go over, trying to paint them as the enemy. Well, it is not true. I'm here to dispel that myth. I stand behind our Border Patrol agents and stand behind law enforcement and the thin blue line that they're trying to crack. And they're trying to call them evil and foreign invaders good, and they're getting a lot of domestic people to go along with it. Well, I don't go along with it. This channel is where we protest the protesters. So if you are for a foreign invasion of this country, to destroy this country for yourself even, you idiot, and for your children, then I'm not with you. I'm with the sovereignty of this nation, for people born here, for people that legally come here, and people that have earned the right to be here, for people that have a birth certificate, for people that have a selective service registration or didn't have to register for some reason, for American-born citizens of the United States of America. I don't seek power off the backs of a foreign enemy that's come over here and demoralize Americans by these foreigners. So if you are with me, hit subscribe to the channel, hit the like button to spread this message all across the United States, because we have been invaded, and our efforts by the federal government to expel these people, to provide for our sovereignty, our way of life, these people that cause all kinds of harm. If you're with me, you want to spread this truthful message to all of Tennessee, all of the United States of America, then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get this truthful message out and support our law enforcement agencies, that our federal law enforcement agencies and our state law enforcement agencies that are on board for American citizens. Because a lot of our state law enforcement agencies and our city law enforcement agencies and our government officials are fighting our own sovereignty from within, domestic enemies in America. And you don't hear a lot of that. You won't hear that anywhere else other than unbridled news. You hear a lot of what they're saying, and we're going to talk about what they're saying. It's called false propaganda, part of fighting the war, so that they can get more of the enemy over here, and your country is being invaded and decimated by foreigners, and some domestic people are stupid enough to go along with the program. And I'm not, and I hope you're not. Subscribe to the channel, send the message, like, help the algorithm, and let's get this truthful message out. Thank you all for joining. I am Charles Van Morgan. I have been through the fire. I know what I'm talking about. I have a Doctor of Jurisprudence, a Master of Arts in Sociology. I am not a kid anymore. I've lived life. I know what's going on. I've seen things. I spent 18 years in law enforcement. I protected more lives than any trooper in the state of Tennessee. Put my life at risk, and I'm putting my life at risk today, this very hour, to protect you all from these foreign enemies and these domestic enemies of the United States of America. Enemies of themselves. Wow. Isn't that amazing how stupid and wicked some people are? You know, the Bible speaks about this, scripturally, prophetically predicted, and it's worse than ever. In the last days, perilous times will come. Perilous times. People will get more and more wicked. People in America, American citizens, enabling enemies trying to destroy our own country from within, aiding and abetting these foreign enemies. Wow, would you ever have imagined? I would have never imagined that. When I was growing up, we said a pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. How dare anyone come in and try to take that flag down and plant their flag and make us speak their language and take up our resources and invade our countries, and politicians are letting them do it for the votes because they give them legal status, they give them positions of power in the United States of America over us surreptitiously, secretly, and get a proxy of voters using illegal immigrants, and it's all for power. It's all for money, and power synonymous with money. And that's what these people are trying to do, because they can't win elections honestly by the will of the American people, because the American people have spoken. They have spoken, because we do not want illegal enemies, illegal foreigners in the United States of America. We'll talk about all the problems that they cause. So join me today, and we'll talk about the invasion of this country. The invasion that's already occurred. They're here right now. We're on the last stand trying to get rid of them, and you look at the enemy's false propaganda and domestic people's false propaganda, trying to paint our heroes as bad people. It's called propaganda. It's a dirty lie that harms you. Listen, how many people got in here? Join me, subscribe, like, and share. We're on our way to the Henley Bridge. Let's see. Yeah, we got a lot of people in here. Thank y'all so very much. So in Minnesota, just 2 days ago, enforcement agents were trying to work on a gang unit that has illegally come over here from a foreign country, trying to arrest them and deport them lawfully and legally on the authority of the United States government, authorized by our president, who was voted into office on positions of ridding illegal immigrants. He literally proclaimed in his election, people knew that he thought illegal immigration was a more important issue than the economy. And maybe he thinks that will correct the economy, because illegal immigrants are hurting our economy. Now you hear it told, you hear the lie, and it's a lie, and I'll dispel this myth, that they help the economy, that they do a lot of jobs that Americans won't do. That's a lie. They do not. That's a lie. They take a lot of American jobs. Right now, truck driving jobs are wide open because they're enforcing immigration laws, and a lot of these illegal immigrants are taking truck driving jobs, lowering the wages for legal truck drivers in America. Some of them fought in Vietnam, and some of them fought for this country, that have a right to make a living in a truck at a fair wage, but they can't make a living in a fair wage because they have all these illegal people that are over here that'll drive a truck for less than what is a fair wage, which drives down the cost, drives down the pay of people that are here legally. Let me get off the road here. That are here legally. So they are hurting the economy, hurting wages. Now they're not hurting major corporations, because they want their costs, their employment wages to be down. And they're behind a lot of the illegal immigration and the false propaganda, because it's in their interest. Corporations don't work. Corporations need people to work for little to nothing so that they can make more money off their work. When you flood the United States with illegal people, and they need money to buy weapons to kill you, then that drives down the cost that corporations have, that are even foreign corporations, that have to pay for workers. So the corporations are all behind this illegal immigration. They hire these illegal immigrants for low pay, and that forces Americans to have to work for low pay or not have a job. So the falsity that they help the economy by taking jobs that Americans won't take is false, calling Americans lazy. That's not true. This is the greatest country in the world with the greatest constitution that they're trying to demolish by spreading a bunch of lies. Illegal foreign people hurt the economy dramatically by billions of dollars. Now you look, since they have deported a lot of illegal immigrants and have been doing that for about a year now. Your hospitals are less full. Less services are needed to provide for people that don't deserve or haven't earned the services that are here illegally. They're robbing your federal tax money because somebody has to pay for them to go to school. Somebody has to pay when they go to the hospital. Somebody has to pay for this stuff. There's only so much property in America. There's only so much land. Now these politicians are more than happy to lie to you and tell you that it's just people wanting to come over here and eluding being mistreated in their country, eluding poverty and trying to get away from harsh regimes in their country, and they're just innocent people coming over here wanting to live right and wanting to fly right, wanting to work hard and do jobs that you want to do and provide for this country and help enable this country. If that's the truth, why are they coming over here illegally? Why are they sneaking across the border? Why don't they want their name to be known? Why are they undocumented? It's not real hard to look behind the lies. And the lies get them in office, politicians in office. The lies spread this information to people domestic that believe the lies and then actually go out and get killed for a foreigner that doesn't give a rat's ass about them. They really don't. It's a war. They don't care. It's an invasion of the United States of America wrongfully that needs to be stopped. And Unbridled News, I'm here to stop it and tell you the truth. Now, it's not pretty. Sometimes the truth ain't pretty, but the truth will set you free. The truth will give you an America for your children, because if we don't stop it now, you're not going to have an America. You're not going to have a constitution. You're not going to have a country that spreads the gospel more than any country in the nation. So join this channel. Help us fight these false narratives and these false messages. This is Unbridled. I'm not controlled by the news media. You listen to the news media, and about 90% of what they say is exactly the opposite of what they're trying to tell you. You look at what's going on in the news media today. They're trying to propagate that American law enforcement officials at the federal level are an enemy of you, while they're trying to get rid of illegal immigrants and simply lawfully, peacefully take them across the border. And they're selling that to a lot of domestic people that are giving their lives trying to stop law enforcement from making a better country for even themselves. Do you believe that? And politicians are behind it. You say illegal people can't vote. Well, they come over here illegally, and then politicians that are in power, that have access to judges, get them legal status, and then when they get legal status, they vote. They shouldn't have got legal status in the first damn place. So there's a lot of illegal immigrants that used to be illegal that are legal now, and they shouldn't even be legal. A lot of that needs to be looked into. We need to aggressively work in the opposite direction of what these lies have cost us. The economy would be a hell of a lot better if we would proactively reverse some of the activity of the foreign enemy and the domestic enemy in the United States of America, and fight for our sovereignty for ourselves, American-born citizens, and make this United States a country for us. We have that right under God. How dare these people fight that right? They need to be fought. They need to be fought as hard as we can. And we'll let our ICE agents handle the military part and use force. And we will fight it, putting out truth propaganda, standing with our ICE agents and our city and county police law enforcement agencies that are recognized under the federal program to enforce immigration laws. Thankfully, here in this county, Knox County, one of the few things that Knox County does good, and I appreciate them, is part of the HG program that is authorized by the federal government, gets paid to arrest illegal immigrants and detain them and deport them. And that is controversial. That is controversial to deport illegal immigrants. Well, let me tell you what, if you don't deport them, they will give them legal status, and a lot of them they can't even deport because they've already hijacked the system in America. They've already got legal status. And let me inform you something very, very horrifying, and you ought to be very horrified about this. And I really hate to tell you it's the truth, but we need to face the truth, or we're not going to be able to do anything about it to maintain our sovereignty, because this country is on the way down unless we fight this very important issue, because you don't have a country without borders, and we don't have a border right now. And they've already come across the border under the Biden administration. They already come here. They're already dwelling in our country, occupying us. No other country in the world would allow that. And the United States, for whatever reason, maybe this is not even mentioned in the end times. Some people think that it is, and I don't know. But the demise of America, and this is how important this issue is, may be from armies coming across our borders, from illegal immigrants, enemies of the United States of America, surreptitiously, secretly sent by other countries. They're releasing their mental institutions. They're releasing their criminals. They're releasing soldiers into this country to populate, get in power, and take over this country. Not by using armies at the border to violently fight, to surreptitiously come over here, and they're already occupying this country. And now they're using propaganda to completely annihilate American citizens and take over our Constitution and make it useless and make this a country without a border, a world country under a world power not controlled by United States citizens anymore. That is already happening, is already taking place. The propaganda is out there, it's on. And if we don't fight that, then that may be a reason why the United States of America is not mentioned in end times in the Bible, because it does not exist. It may not exist anymore. That's how important it is for us to fight this illegal invasion of enemies of this country and domestic enemies that are here right now, assisting these foreign enemies in these foreign countries overtaking America. So help us fight this. Subscribe to this channel. We're on our way down to the bridge, and I'm going to show you the beautiful view. We've got some notes we're going to show y'all and talk about some of these issues and talk about the cost of these foreign invaders and what it's costing us. And these politicians are doing that for votes, and they don't care that they're taking up your houses. They don't care that they're occupying your land. There's only so much space in this country. We can't handle all these people. It's overpopulation is incredible. There's not enough houses in the city of Knoxville. They're building them by the truckloads. Do you think that's all Americans? And you think that's all people born? No, it's the result of overpopulation because of foreign invaders that don't belong here, and they need to be deported. And we're going to start standing up for the sovereignty of the United States of America. Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. If you're with me, subscribe. These politicians don't care because they're going to build walls around their property, and they're going to be up on high hills, and they're going to get the votes of all these people that they've overpopulated your houses with. And what do you think? Do you think these people are going to come over here and live in our parks and be homeless? No, they're not. They're going to take your house and make you homeless and make you have to go to their country or put you in a park somewhere under a bridge homeless. They're going to take over our courts as they already have. They're going to dominate our public offices, and they're going to tell us our Constitution, as they already are doing, means little to nothing. As one of our public officials said the other day in a post on social media, and I'll show it to you. They're already cramming that down our throat. And I'll show you the post by a law enforcement public official that said that your constitutional rights, fought for and died for, shed blood for to protect that, said that those soldiers' blood don't matter. little to nothing. I'll show you the post. You think I'm lying? I'll show you the evidence of what they are doing in this country, even under a Republican government in the state of Tennessee, because it's not really Republican. It's Republican in name only. They don't stand for the value of American sovereignty. This is important. This is serious. Listen, it's the last days of America. If you do not watch the news and see what's going on and listen to the story that they're trying to spin, a dirty lie by propagandists that's going to cause you not to have an America, not to have a Constitution. If you think I'm joking with you, you hide and watch and they will find you. Pay attention to what I'm saying, and most of y'all with me. Thank y'all so very much for joining this channel and helping us fight for the sovereignty of America, for the Constitution of America, for people born in America with a birth certificate in the United States of America. This is our country by birthright. Let's take it back, and we can do it. If we don't, we're going to lose this country. We're going to lose this state. We're going to lose the United States of America. It's an eternal war. They're already here. They're already here. They've already completed stage 1 occupation. And you see it going on all over the United States. Foreigners creating havoc, illegal foreigners having military operations in the United States of America right now. They are here, just not in the form you thought, because that wouldn't have worked. We would have fought it. They got here by lies, and the lies are perpetrating like wildfire by complete total idiots and sympathizers that call good evil and evil good. And we're going to talk about that at the bridge and keep our head down. My life's in danger for speaking out against this stuff. So I have to watch out. I have to be careful. We may have to change up our routine in case of some type of hostile assassination attempt. But I do have a ballistic vest, and we'll change our pattern around. But for now, I hope and believe I'm okay. I pray that God protects me. Pray for my safety, protection, and well-being as I fight this propaganda battle, and help me fight this false propaganda battle by a occupying invasion enemy that's in this country right now. They're already here. Stage 1 is complete, and we need to overcome that, and we're going to fight that, and we're going to tell you how we're going to do it. And so I will also, and I pray in Jesus Christ's name for every one of my subscribers and for all my friends and all the people that support this channel. And we're going to tell you the truth. It's not pretty, but in order to make it pretty, in order to bring the sovereignty of the United States back, in order to expel occupying foreign invaders, we have to be completely honest and do that so that we can make it a country that flies the American flag high and that supports our law enforcement officers that are out doing the right thing. Now, some of them aren't. Some of them aren't. Some of these city and county agencies have been infected, and even some state agencies have been infected by foreign propagandists and news media and corporations that are selling a lie to you. And they're going to sell you right out of your house, out on the street, while a foreigner takes your house. And foreigners are taking your property. And foreigners are using your resources. And you're paying for it. They're not. And foreigners are making this country more criminal, more crime, and they're making our roads more dangerous. And we need to fight that. They are not a benefit to America. They never have been and never will be. And they are already here, and our government up to now has failed us. But they are right now, and that's one of the reasons they failed us, because you see how they're being treated by domestic sympathizers, and their lives are literally threatened. People are trying to take people in law enforcement's lives for doing their damn jobs. So you see why they have been reluctant to enforce the law and provide for American sovereignty. At least they are doing that now, and we need to stand behind them. So that's how many people we got on here. Thank you all so very much. Subscribe, spread the message, and we're going to tell you a little truth telling today. It's not pretty, it's the truth, but we can make it pretty, and if we don't face the truth, then we are doomed. America's not mentioned in the last days, it appears. And maybe this is why, and I'm not giving you doomsday. It may be, there are things in the Bible that indicate it might be, but I'm just saying that that will be the demise of America if we don't take care of this issue of illegal immigrants taking over this country. It's in the news today, all day, and being propagated in a false light by the news media. And I'll tell you how they're doing it. And I'm going to tell you the truth, and what they're telling you on the news, look at it and consider it in the opposite direction of what they're trying to tell you. Just consider that what they're saying is false, trying to help foreign invaders, trying to help false people. And it's working what they're doing, because they're getting a lot of domestic people, a lot of United States people, to risk their lives and give their lives for a foreign army. Propaganda, false propaganda works well. Let's put out the truth. And I think it'll be very clear to you. It's very clear to me. It doesn't take a lot of thinking to know that a country's not a country without a border. That we can be invaded in more ways than one. You know, China is trying to take over this country by financial means, by stealing our technology. There's more ways to take over a country than an invading army at the borders, flying over the country, bombing it. You surreptitiously send people in, spies and illegal immigrants all over this country, and you overtake the news media and have them spread false propaganda that purports a message that what they're doing, their occupation, is okay. And it is not okay with me. If it's not okay with you, subscribe to the channel, like, and if you can, contribute, and we'll stay on the air and try to be careful. And these politicians don't care. They're not taking their houses. They're getting votes to stay in power so that they can build, so they can have security, and they can build big, fancy, huge walls around their house and get votes off the people that have taken your house and lie to you. And that's why they're doing it. That's why politicians are allowing it to happen, because they're benefiting from the demise of America. And that is an act of treason, un-American. Let's fight that. Here in the city of Knoxville, there is a city police officer, and I'm not sure the result, we need to stand up against this, that is getting disciplined for taking an illegal alien to a federal immigration detention center to where they can be legally checked into and deported if necessary. So we have a law enforcement officer in the city of Knoxville, state of Tennessee, and it's happening all over the United States. You see city and county officers standing up against federal law enforcement. And we're going to talk about that. The Union Army won. States don't have a right to take over our federal government. There's a reason for that. So you have a city officer that is getting disciplined for protecting the sovereignty of the United States under investigation. I thank that officer for taking care of responsibility, and I rebuke the city of Knoxville if they have any kind of discipline for protecting our sovereignty. Now, they do it for votes. They do it for votes. A lot of these city and county politicians get a hell of a lot of votes from illegal immigrants because they make them legal, they help them get legal status, and they get votes from them. So that's going on, and that's the reason why politicians and your government is allowing it to happen. They're doing it for power and doing it for money, and their houses are not going to be invaded. They're going to be above that. They're going to make it illegal for their rights to be taken away, but they're taking away yours and using illegal foreign enemies to do it. And we're going to explain that on our way to the Henley Bridge. Got some paperwork here, and we're going to show you the documentation of a state official, highest up in law enforcement, that demoralized you and your constitutional right. It's in writing, his own words, and we'll show it to you. It's going on right now. You have no constitution. We got to fight to get it back. because you have none at this point. And we're going to show you, put in the link, some videos from some live events that happened, recorded on the scene of people recording law enforcement stepping over the Constitution in this state, in this Republican state of Tennessee. How bad do you think it's going on in Democratic states? Horrific things going on in this country right now. And we're going to face them head on and go completely against what the news media tells us and what the lie, because it's propaganda. You won't hear this anywhere else. Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. Head on into the truth with bravery, asking you to pray that God will protect me, protect my life. They'd like to kill me. They don't want this to be told. This is a literal war that is being fought, that I'm fighting, not with bullets, with truthful propaganda that they're fighting with false propaganda. And I'm gonna show you the proof of their dirty lies that are made to take away your rights and take away your country from out from under your feet and give it to foreign enemies. And we have domestic people believing the lies, giving their lives to help them. How dare they? Let's fight them. Subscribe to the channel. I'm the only one doing this for the most part. And this is my calling, this is my forte, to fight, and we need to do it strategically, and we're going to win, hopefully. So welcome, come on in, the Charles Van Moore Show. So thank you all so very much. High viewership, and hold on with me when we get to the bridge. I'm going to show you a statement I'm going to quote a statement by the highest ranking Tennessee law enforcement officer in the state of Tennessee, in a Republican state. Just think how Democrats are doing. His own statement, his own words, according to credible sources, posted, now retracted, but posted live, what he's thinking in his mind, what he posted to you and everybody in this state about your constitutional rights, your sovereignty in America. So yeah, let's see. So we're gonna have to be careful. I don't know. So we're gonna show you that statement with the man's picture, and I know the man personally. So I'm not talking about somebody that I've never met before. I went to the Tennessee law enforcement, the Tennessee Highway Patrol Law Enforcement Training Academy with this man. I seen him almost on a daily basis for 4 months in the Law Enforcement Training Academy. I know him personally. I know what a dirtbag he is. What a pathetic sissy liar. And I'm just telling you the truth. It's not unchristian to fight wrong. If you think it is, then you don't do it. But I'm going to, because I don't answer to you, I answer to God. And it is not unchristian to fight wrong for other people's rights. David killed the giant. He didn't negotiate with him. They were already invading. He hit him in the head with a rock and cut his head off. Now, I'm not saying that's the kind of war this is. I'm saying this is a propaganda war that I'm fighting. We'll let federal officials handle the guns, and they appear to be doing pretty good. But you don't win a propaganda war by softening the blow. You tell the truth if it applies, and it is the truth. And this man, the highest office in our state highway patrol, that took away your constitutional rights by a statement, because he owns law enforcement, he runs it. And if he wants to tell them they don't have to obey your constitutional rights, and that's what he did, then they don't have to. So you don't have any constitutional rights right now in the state of Tennessee. If they want to protect illegal immigrants, and they do, then they will, and you better leave them alone. If they want to violate your rights and arrest you for exercising your constitutional rights, they've done said that they will, and if you don't like it, that's too bad, don't come to Tennessee. They run Tennessee not under the Constitution, under their rules, and the governor, Bill Lee, the Christian man that he claims he is without ever saying the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, is behind that, promoted that man. Oh gosh, dude, look at this. Look at this, man. Wow, where's law enforcement? Flies down the sidewalk at a high rate of speed, almost running over me. Wow, I wonder if that was somebody that's out to put a hit on me. I don't know. That was pretty close. So we got fans, people blowing the horn. I see my life flash before my eyes. So we're going to show you the beautiful view. I hope you enjoy it. It's been life-threatening to get down here. So I'm a real person. I'm not a piece of meat with real values and a real voice that 1.8 million people have listened to, and I'm a truth teller. I go against the grain, swim upstream for your good, at my own expense and possible demise, although I don't think that. I believe that God will protect me. If he don't, you know where I went. Straight to heaven. Straight to heaven. So listen to the channel. You won't hear this anywhere else except Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. The truth fighting false propaganda. It's a arduous task. I've got almost 8 million people probably at the end of this show. The news media's got corporations and foreign funding their lives 24/7. So help this little squeak of a message explode to millions and millions so that we can regain the sovereignty and the constitutional rights of American citizens. And help me do that. Help me help you fight the lies and fight the already invasion. They're already here. You hear it on the news every day. The battle is being fought. Shots are being fired. The enemy is activated and trying to overrun our federal government, our federal officials, and already got cooperation through propaganda, which is the easiest way to win a war. Have the enemy stupidly lay down their arms and not fight by getting your way through lying to people. They've already got city and county officials in a lot of states and a lot of cities and a lot of counties all across the United States agreeing with them and buying their false propaganda, and a lot of citizens, even in this city, protesting for foreign enemies to come over here and take over their own houses, their own hospitals, their own resources, take their jobs. How stupid can you get? And they're protesting for foreigners. And what about their own families and the future of the United States of America? That's what I'm here for. And I'm not afraid of them. They're carrying a lie. They're not carrying the flag of the United States of America. If you look at some of their protests, they turned our flag upside down. How dare they do that? Not in this country. We're going to fly it high, speak out for the Constitution. Your family, your kids, people that were born here in America. And we're going to fight for you. And that's what we do. That's what I've done all my life. And I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep doing that to protect this country, to protect the sovereignty of the United States. So we're almost at the bridge. If anybody's listening here that's an enemy of mine, we're in New York. Yeah, we're in New York. So you got to lie to the enemy. They're certainly lying to us. So let's get across the bridge here. So yeah, we got a whole lot of people, and we got some documents that we want to show you all. And I am dressed up in a suit and tie. I am an unlicensed lawyer because the state licensed foreigners and they won't license me because they say I'm not candid, although I've never been convicted of any crime at all, let alone an infamous crime, a crime of dishonesty. But their propaganda and their dirty courts run by foreigners says that I'm not honest, while they give foreigners law licenses in America time in their courts, time they give foreigners, can go over here to the Knox County Courthouse and they get a certain amount of time. You hear them when they go into court and they'll say, they give them a certain amount of time and they say, I want to reserve 5 minutes of my time for rebuttal. That's time because the other side gets the same amount of time, but after they speak, the other side can reserve time to rebut what they said. That's giving them time in a courtroom in front of a judge or a jury to speak and present their case, true or false. They get time in a peaceful environment, controlled by law enforcement. You can't go in there and shut them down. Law enforcement will stop you. It's not like you can protest that. It's part of our government institutions. And they have given foreigners, not me, I've got a birth certificate, a selective service registration, I've always obeyed the law, I fight for your constitutional rights. They've given foreigners, illegal, and foreigners that have come over here that they've given legal status to, that maybe probably shouldn't, they've given people that don't have a birth certificate, that weren't raised saying pledge allegiance to the United States flag, a right protected by your money to go in here in the courtroom, giving them time to peacefully, no one can interfere with that, argue for a certain amount of time, tell them what's good for their country in your courtroom, and I can't even stop them because they won't let me reserve time in their courtroom to say what they're saying is not true. This is the truth. These are the records. This is the proof. They won't even give me a license like they give a foreigner to go in their courtroom right here and say that. But they give a foreigner that doesn't have a birth certificate, doesn't have a selective service registration, never raised or educated in American law school, never said I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. As a child, they were pledge allegiance to their flag in their country, and they come over here and your government has sold out your Tennessee Board of Law Examiners, your Tennessee courts, your Tennessee government has sold out with false propaganda, allows them to go in your courtrooms. And when you're in a courtroom, listen to, if you get jury duty, listen to a lawyer. Look at that lawyer and think, is he from another country? Should he even have the right? I know he's given the right by people in government power. I argue wrongfully, but they won't let me argue that in front of you all. I don't have the right to ask him where he was born at, if he's an American citizen, if he even has American parents. But he can come over here surreptitiously, given authority by your Tennessee government for votes to speak in front of you from a foreign country without you ever having knowledge of it by your Tennessee government, and I can't go in that courtroom and rebut him. They won't let me. They've locked down the courthouse to us and given it to them. It is an invasion of horrific level that is so very horrible for you, that is demolishing your rights and part of a huge problem that they allow that to take place. And that is not my problem. That is not my problem. That is also your problem, because you don't have an attorney that will argue for you unless they're licensed by them, that also license people from other countries, immigrants that they have given immigration to, that maybe they shouldn't. They don't have a birth certificate. They don't have a selective service registration. They don't have American legal education, but your tax money pays to give them time to speak in front of you without you even knowing it, and bars me under lies from your government for being able to speak to you. And I'll just tell you the truth. You don't even have to buy what I'm saying. I should have the opportunity to at least tell you what I think, and you can reject it. But they won't even let me speak. They won't even let me speak, and they let a foreigner speak. and don't even tell you he's a foreigner, and they won't even let me speak. And it is your problem too. It is every bit your problem, because they won't let you speak either. And I'll show you what a government official said and prove it. So it's not my problem. I'm just practicing law for you, unlicensed, using my legal skills to argue in your favor, because we still have, as far as I know, what little bit we have, although I have been falsely arrested for speaking the truth against the government, we still have a constitutional right. And they're even taking over our federal courts. Our federal courts, you can't even practice law in a federal court unless you've been licensed by these rogue government officials in Tennessee that allow foreigners access and time in your courtroom, protected by your law enforcement officers. You couldn't even tell them to shut up. You have to listen to them. That time's reserved. You can't afford jury duty. They don't tell you they're from another country licensed. They don't tell you that they bar me from going in there, American citizen with a birth certificate, a selective service registration, never convicted of any crime. They use the pretext falsely that I'm not candid when I've never been convicted of any crime, let alone a crime, infamous crime, which is a dishonesty crime. They just pull that out of their hat and use that false card against me, just like they tell you it's all right for foreigners to come over here. They're just peaceful people that are trying to help your country, and our law enforcement officers that are trying to deport them, trying to take away their time they shouldn't have had in the first damn place, trying to remove them out of this country, fighting violence with their lives at risk. And the news media and people in government power are trying to tell you that that's okay. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'll argue for you on the street. It's not okay, and I'm going to present to you the case of why it's not and what they're doing to you. So this is the last avenue of peace and fighting for truth that we have in the United States of America. It's not the news media. It's private, independent podcasters and people that spread the message, and I've been spreading it statewide for years. I'm not going away. It's got the message out. And you helping me spread the truth against these lies that's going to take your freedoms away. So it just doesn't affect me. This is for you, and I'm putting myself at risk. Respect that and show the love and care and concern by first, the most important thing I ask for is your prayers, the prayers of God's people to pray, to help me, protect me, keep me safe, and to continue to speak the truth, or this country is gone. This country is gone. There are other people speaking the truth, maybe with not as much knowledge and forethought as I have, but very few. So pray, and then if you can support the channel, help the algorithm, subscribe, don't believe the falseness. So here we are at my pulpit. They won't give me 5 minutes in the courtroom. Will you give me 5 minutes to present a case in their own words? Would you do that? Not for me. It'd be better for me if I'd go hide somewhere, although I know they'd find me. For you. So look at the beautiful view. Thank y'all for joining me. Like, subscribe, and share the message. So here is the evidence, and we'll get right to it. Give me 5 minutes of your time, or longer than that, to show you in their own words what they are trying to tell you. That is false. It's unbelievable. They're sticking it in your face. And I'm not going to tell you what they said. What I say they said, I'm going to show you in their own words what they said. And you think about what they mean when they said it. They mean what they say. If somebody tells you something, believe them the first time. And we'll tell you the man that said it. I know him. I've met him personally. I know why he's in the position that he is, because he's related to a former Supreme Court justice that got votes probably from illegal foreigners, that allows legal foreigners to have legal status in the United States, and you're not going to have it. So, let's look. And I'll drop a link in the in the hello, in the box. Hello, I'll drop a link in the comments section and show you this video of somebody that was lawfully arrested by this department, what this whole incident arose from. So this is Colonel Matt Perry's statement after an unlawful arrest that violated the Constitution. We're going to show you the constitutional laws, and I'll also show you another video of, and I want to thank Southern Draw Law. I have been calling him Southern George Law, but in listening to some of his recent videos, I have to apologize because he has said some things that are directly in line with what I'm trying to say. So I have to say kudos to him. Thank you for what you're doing, Southern Draws Law. And if you listen to this channel, I'm giving him some credit. He has spoke out truthfully about this incident. So thank you. There are other people that are saying the same thing as me, maybe not as forcefully and maybe not as blatantly as me, trying to tiptoe around the truth. And he's a licensed lawyer, so he can't say everything that I can say, because if he does, I'll pull his law license. They can't pull my law license. They won't give them to me in the first place. They won't give me 5 minutes in the courtroom, or 10 minutes, and 5 minutes I can reserve, or 2 minutes I can reserve to speak to you in a courtroom. But a foreigner will come up there, and you don't even know they're a foreigner. But let me reserve some time and give me more than 5, but give me 5 minutes and I'll show you how they don't believe in the Constitution in this country. They believe in foreigners. So here's what this Colonel Matt Perry over the Tennessee Highway Patrol said about your constitutional rights. He said you have little to none. Wow. I say we have every constitutional right that is given to us, and the Constitution doesn't give us rights. It's given to us by God. The Constitution just recognizes it, even though you don't. God recognizes our constitutional rights, and we're going to protect them. So look at my screenshot, and that ought to tell you the position that I take. And I know a lot about what the Highway Patrol's doing. There's also on my screenshot a picture of a drug recognition, expert recognition, that costs you thousands of dollars for me to get, to help me not make mistakes about DUI arrest, and then they get rid of me and hire people that aren't trained. So here's what Colonel Matt Perry said about your constitutional rights. Listen to this. This is his own words. He said, this is Matt Perry, and I know him personally. I went to law school with him. This is Matt Perry. It is both legal and lawful for the Tennessee Highway Patrol to demand identification from any and all occupants in a vehicle during a traffic stop. Any person who fails to present ID upon request is committing obstruction, regardless of whether they're driving or not, which will absolutely result in their arrest. We make it very simple here in Tennessee. Cooperation or jail. That's it. If you don't like it, stay out of Tennessee. Can't make it any more simple to understand. Your constitutional rights mean a little less than absolutely nothing on our roads, and definitely won't save you. Let me read that again. That's important. Your constitutional rights mean a little less than absolutely nothing on our roads, and definitely won't save you from a pair of handcuffs and temporary residency in one of our jail cells. Officer safety and the safety of the general public is our primary concern, not whatever make-believe rights you think you have. This is Tennessee, not California. You may beat the charge, but you're still going for the ride. Even if you win, you still lose. Remember that. Tennessee Highway Patrol Colonel Matt Perry responding in now deleted tweets to the viral video of 2 of his troopers arresting a passenger for not identifying. That is Colonel Matt Perry. Now let me read this to you again. Your constitutional rights mean a little less than absolutely nothing on our roads, and definitely won't save you from a pair of handcuffs. Your constitutional rights, they don't mean just nothing. This is his own words. they don't just mean nothing. They're below nothing. They're way below it. That means you don't even have any constitutional rights. You have below that. You have less than no constitutional rights. That's what he said. That's not what I'm saying. That's his own words, quoted from this man that I personally know, that's a dirty, sissy coward that is afraid to put handcuffs on anybody. When I was in the academy with him, this is what a coward this man is. And this is not defamation, it's true. I went to the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Training Academy before I went to this academy. Same academy, only it was for commercial vehicle enforcement. And then I got hired as a trooper and went back to the same academy again. They forced me to do that in order to be a trooper. And this man was in the class 404, Tennessee Highway Patrol. The motto of the class was servants, not lords. Now he thinks that they're lords. What he means is they're lords and we're servants. We don't even have constitutional rights. And in that class, all before that class, in every Tennessee Highway Patrol class, when they started carrying a pepper spray, cayenne pepper, it's the hottest spray known to man, hottest chemical. When you spray it in your eyes, you become unable to defend yourself. So much pain, you can't see, you can't breathe, it gets in your throat and lungs, and it burns like hell. The hottest stuff, it won't kill you. It does kill some people, I bet, but it makes you unable to defend yourself or fight or resist. You're in so much pain, you can't see, you can't breathe. So troopers use that spray to defend themselves against a violent offender. Some people it has little to no effect on, so it's not a cure-all. But troopers were sprayed with that spray. I was sprayed with it in order to show you what it felt like. So if somebody took it away from you in a confrontation and sprayed you with it, you wouldn't be surprised. That was the excuse they used. You would know what it was like to be sprayed with that spray. And they're pretty much telling you if you get sprayed with that spray, you're going to have to use deadly force or the person's going to take your gun away and kill you. So it pretty much gives you the right to use deadly force if somebody takes your chemical spray away and sprays you. And you can testify in court that you know you were sprayed in the academy and you couldn't defend yourself because you were sprayed with it in training and you experienced the same level of unable to defend yourself against a violent person trying to attack you, so you had to use deadly force. So it's a way to be able to, for troopers to be able to use deadly force if you steal their chemical spray. Some of them might let you steal it so they can spray you. He was going to spray me, so I had to kill him. But in all the classes, we were sprayed with that spray. It was a dreaded day. I can tell you, I got sprayed with it. And they told you the chemicals in it before they sprayed you, and told us about how horrifying it was to be sprayed with it. Which, after I was sprayed with it, everything they said was true. It was the hottest pepper, and it stayed with you for days. It burned, it'd light up. You'd be sitting in classroom after you washed it out, it'd light up in your eyes. It stayed with you for days. And when you were sprayed with it, and they sprayed us in the eyes, they got us to go outside, kneel down on the ground, and they'd spray us right on the forehead, cover our whole face with it. It even had dye in it where it marked you. And it was a hazing thing for the Highway Patrol. That's how they trained you, hazing. And every class got sprayed with that chemical spray. I went through that academy twice. I've got 2 certificates that I graduated from the Tennessee Highway Patrol Academy. Now, they say that's a great academy and it's very difficult to get through and that only the best get through. Well, then I'm the best because I got two certificates from that academy where I graduated. They shook my hand, thank you, by the commissioner. So I successfully graduated from their torment hell that you don't learn no law enforcement. You learn how to take an abuse and how to worship supervision. That's what you learn at that academy. And every class got sprayed with chemical spray, except when he was in my class 404, his daddy was the captain over the class. And all of a sudden they built it up, and it got to the day where they were going to spray us, and I was dreading that day. I didn't spray it in the previous class. I knew what hell it was, and it was hell on earth. And then all of a sudden his dad got up, they were supposed to spray us that day, and they said that they weren't going to spray us because they'd gotten complaints, and people had to go to the hospital because of being sprayed. So they didn't want the civil liability that you didn't have to get sprayed. You could have quit your job. There was no civil liability, I don't believe. You didn't have to get sprayed. You could say I quit. It wasn't like the military. But the captain of the class, his son, Matt Perry, Captain Perry was the captain. His son, Matt Perry, was in the class, a cadet, just like me, or was he just like me? So his daddy didn't spray the whole class because he didn't want his son to get sprayed with chemical spray. That's what a little sissy girly man he is. And now he's made it all the way to Colonel of the Highway Patrol, not because he has a doctorate of jurisprudence where he's telling you what the law is, but the law don't mean anything. It doesn't matter if Tennessee doesn't recognize your constitutional rights. He can't not enforce your constitutional rights. You have federal constitutional rights. So you have state constitutional rights, and the state, I happen to have a doctor of jurisprudence, a law degree. I could be the colonel right now. He's the colonel because of who his daddy is, who he knows. And also his aunt is a former Supreme Court justice. That's the reason why he got promoted. It's about friends and family, not qualifications, education, knowledge, not about ability to protect Tennesseans, because I protect the Tennesseans better than any trooper in the state of Tennessee. So it has nothing to do with your public safety. And listen to what he's saying. This is his own words. I'm not making this up. So he didn't get sprayed with chemical spray because his daddy was over the class and didn't want his son to be sprayed with that spray. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't have either. But I got sprayed. And then he gets protected all the way to Colonel because of who he's related to. And then he comes out with this stuff where he's trying to tell us that you don't have any constitutional rights. But you do. Even if the state of Tennessee doesn't recognize it, you have constitutional rights, federal constitutional rights. The state can have constitutional rights. They can have more protection than federal rights, meaning your state constitution can give you more privacy than the federal constitution. They can give you more rights under the 4th Amendment. They can make it more difficult for officers to be able to get a search warrant to come into your house. But they can't fall below the floor. He can't fall below the floor of federal protection. So it doesn't matter what this bozo thinks about your constitutional rights, because it's not only recognized by the state, it's recognized by the federal government, which also has a lot to do with immigration, which sets the floor. So he can't tell you, he's unlawful to tell you, because he can say we have no rights under the Tennessee Constitution, but you still have a floor that he can't go below, that he's telling you, he's a law violator. He's telling you that he's going to go below the floor of your federal constitutional rights. Well, let me tell you something, Matt Perry. The Confederate didn't win the war, the Union did. The federal law is supreme, Mr. Perry. You're not taking away my federal constitutional rights. You're lawless, just like any thug that would try to rob you, deceive you. You got the right to defend yourself. I'm just telling you, he's the law violator and you're not. And he's admitting to being a law violator. That's how many people we got in here, and we'll show you a little bit about what these people are doing and the federal law as far as illegal immigration and the war that's going on now, the false propaganda that's trying to take your rights away. And I'm here to dispel the false propaganda and tell you what the truth is. So I just showed you what the colonel of the Tennessee Highway Patrol is telling you. He's not going to honor your constitutional rights. He's going to take them away from you. You still have a federal floor. You don't have to go along with this program. You don't have to go along with this law enforcement agency when they try to fall below the floor of federal constitutional protection. It's supreme. I'm going to show you that. Let's see how many people got in here, and we'll continue the dialogue. Thank you all so very much for following, for liking and sharing. And we will try to make sure that the phone is turned off. Look at the beautiful view that we have. We've got awesome viewership. Thank you all so very much. Like, share, subscribe, contribute to the channel if you can, and help us spread the message. So I'll put a link to the video that he's talking about where 2 troopers violated a man's constitutional rights. They stopped a car for a taillight going out. So that is the scope of the stop, is limited to a trooper dealing with the taillight. They have a right to stop the car, but the reason they stopped the car is because the taillight's out. So that is the lawful authority that they have under the Tennessee Constitution that he says doesn't exist, and under the federal Constitution. A law enforcement officer can stop you for a traffic violation, but the scope of that stop has to relate to the traffic violation. They can't extend that stop for other issues without reasonable suspicion. So they can't go fishing for reasonable suspicion by extending the stop after the beyond the light being out. So when they approach the car, they are allowed to ask the driver for their driver's license and proof of insurance, and they're allowed to issue a citation for stuff they immediately plain view observe, and if they plainly see in the hands of the passenger some illegal drugs or narcotics, then they can ask the passenger for ID. But they cannot demand that the passenger present ID based on a stop for a taillight out. It has nothing to do with the passenger. They can control the activities of the passenger. They can ask them to remain seated, or they can get them out of the car, but they cannot ask the passenger to ID a car. This is the law, Dr. Jurisprudence, I believe. Now, I'm not practicing law, I'm just telling you my take on this. And you look at case law, it backs it up. Other attorneys that are licensed tell you the same thing. If you're a passenger in a car and they stop the car for a traffic violation and you have not committed a crime, then they can't ask you for ID. They can order you out of the car. If you have a bulge or something that looks like a gun, they can pat down the outside of you, but they can't ID you unless they can specifically articulate individual crime that they suspect you of committing. They have to be able to articulate that. The fact that you're in the car, the fact that you refuse to give them identification cannot be used against you. They have to articulate a specific crime that you're committing separate from what the driver did, driving the car without a taillight. The fact that a passenger's in the car without a taillight is not a crime by the passenger. They're not driving it, they're riding in the car. So they cannot ID you. Now, if they smell marijuana in the car, they could literally say that they think that it could be the driver or the passenger, so they could demand ID from the passenger, because they could say, we smell marijuana in the car and we didn't, that's a crime to have marijuana in the state of Tennessee. They could say it is either the passengers or it could be the driver, so we're going to ask for the passenger's ID because they may be committing a crime of possessing or marijuana, because we can smell it. So if they smell marijuana, they could ask for ID. But in this particular case, they had no crime of the passenger committing any crime. He objected to them asking ID, refused to give him ID, because that's what he said. What crime do you suspect me of? They got him out, kicked him. Tennessee State Troopers kicked him, you can hear him on the video, and arrested him for obstruction for no legitimate lawful reason, and violated the law. And the commander of the Highway Patrol says he doesn't care if it violates his constitutional rights, if they don't have, they can ID you if they want to, or any constitutional violation, that they don't have to obey the Constitution on Tennessee roadways. Like I told you the other day, I wouldn't come to Tennessee right now. I wouldn't come to Tennessee. It's too dangerous for you. It's lawless. They go below the federal Constitution. So Brown versus Texas, police stopped Zachary Brown in a high crime area in El Paso, Texas, because he looked suspicious. Looking suspicious, there's different quantums of evidence. A hunch or suspicion without being articulated, the reason why that person's suspicious. Did you see him walking over to a car and exchanging money? You think they're selling drugs? Something you can articulate, giving them a dark paper bag, something you can articulate that looks suspicious where you can stop them and investigate further. Without more, you can't just stop somebody and ask them for ID. You can't stop somebody and ask the passenger for ID in a car without more. You have to be explained that, articulate it, exactly what your suspicion is. You can't just say, I'm suspicious of you. Wow, you could stop anybody walking down the sidewalk. Do you want freedom, or do you want the cops to be able to stop you anytime they want to, the government, for any reason? They can't even stop somebody because you look like a foreigner. Let me see your ID. They can't do that. They have to have a reason to suspect that you're illegally here in the United States. That even applies to them. They can't just stop people at random. Do you want that? The government to be able to stop you anytime they want to and start fishing for a crime? I don't. That's something we value in the United States, freedom. So they stopped him in a crime area in El Paso, Texas, because he looked suspicious, and it's in an area of high crime drug activity. As specific, they labeled suspicion of wrongdoing. He refused ID, and the court said they arrested him refusing to provide ID during a lawful stop. Court unanimously ruled this violated the Fourth Amendment. Stop unlawful officers lacked reasonable suspicion of a crime conduct subject to arrest following the failing to ID was invalid, so they couldn't arrest him, and the case was dismissed. He won. You can't ID people without a specific articulable reason of a crime. Being a passenger in a car is not a crime, even if the driver stopped for a legitimate reason. The colonel says that he's going to arrest you anyway, even though the law says differently. Hobble versus Texas, the Sixth Circuit, 2004, and this is a federal court case. The other case was a state case. Federal law is supreme. If you sue officers, you'll go to federal court. The Sixth Circuit is the circuit in Tennessee, the appeals court circuit, that is over Tennessee, I think Kentucky, and about 3 or 4 states that a set of judges adjudicate federal law in these states in this area. So if you end up in federal court on appeal, you'll be in the Sixth Circuit. This was a 2004 case. And this is dealing with federal law, which is supreme law. Texas versus Hobble versus Texas. Even a stop and identity states the state must lawfully individualize specific circumstances and can ask for name and must be given suspected of a crime. They must, a person, even in a state where they got a law that they can ID people upon demand, they still have to have, according to federal law, it violates your federal rights, they still have to have specific articulable reason why they think that you're committing a crime. Has to be above a mere hunch. Has to be above something, well, they think you are. You look like a criminal. Has to be something specific that you did that appears to them, to a reasonable police officer under the circumstances, that you're committing, that you have committed, that you're committing or going to commit a crime. If they can spell that out where it makes sense to a reasonable person, then they can stop and identify you. You have to have your name. You have to give them your name and tell them who you are. But they have to be able to tell you what crime you're committing. They can't just stop you and ID you. The colonel says that doesn't matter. Tennessee does not authorize blanket ID demand from passengers. Refusing to provide ID is not obstruction by itself. Obstruction requires affirmative act. So this guy in this car didn't do anything affirmative other than refuse to give ID, and he wasn't required to. So they're using a constitutional right as established by the United States Supreme Court to say him exercising his constitutional right is obstructing. He didn't obstruct anything. And I'll put the video in the link. Silence or refusal alone is not obstruction. Courts across the country have ruled this repeatedly. Arresting someone or refusing to ID is an unlawful arrest, and you can put them in federal court under federal jurisdiction that will override state jurisdiction, just like these federal enforcement authorities have more authority and can enforce federal laws, and states can't stop them. So arresting someone for refusing to ID is not an unlawful arrest. Cooperate or jail, which is what the colonel said, is intimidation. So the colonel of the highway patrol, that didn't even get sprayed with chemical spray because he's a chicken shit, is using intimidation. So every time you're stopped, you better give them ID, or they're going to unlawfully, he admits, arrest you and put you in jail for exercising your federal constitutional rights, that he cannot go below the floor in the state of Tennessee. But he doesn't know that. He doesn't have a doctor of jurisprudence like I do. So sue the hell out of them. Sue the hell out of them. And the officers even kick somebody. They'll even use excessive force on you. Wow, don't come to Tennessee. Police convenience does not equal legal authority. Officer safety is important. Now, he mentions officer safety. That's important, but it does not erase the Fourth Amendment. They know these jobs are dangerous. I knew the job was dangerous. So I have a right to hold people at gunpoint because I'm afraid of them. I think that person's going to shoot me. Stand right there. Let me search you. I don't have a reason, but I'm afraid of you. I mean, I would be safe doing that, patting down every person, holding the gun on every person. I'd have the drop on them. But being a police officer is dangerous. Sometimes you go in situations unknowingly that people have the drop on you. Just for your safety reasons, you don't have a right to point a gun at people just because they're exercising their constitutional rights. How dare he say that? That's his own words. Contact the governor. Contact your local politician. Tell them we have constitutional rights in this state. More than illegal immigrants. Start deporting them and leave us the hell alone. We're not going along with your unlawful, unconstitutional, illegal conduct. We don't care what kind of badge you got on. It doesn't take away our constitutional rights. And sue them in federal court. Call your politicians. Join vote. Voters of truth enraged. They're not falling below my federal Florida constitutional rights. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm not afraid. God doesn't expect me to listen to unlawful orders. Police convenience doesn't equal legal authority. Officer safety is important, but it does not erase Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment officer safety does not create a general right to demand ID or hold everybody at gunpoint or kick everybody and haul everybody to jail and expect the courts to get them out of it. And the courts will probably go along with Colonel Matt Perry because it's political. Matt Perry will stop the judges and start putting them in jail for driving drunk down the road. So of course these judges will give him his unlawful take on the Constitution and adjudicate you don't have constitutional rights to obey the Tennessee Highway Patrol that's in charge of the largest law enforcement agency in the state that has guns, ammunition, and tanks and helicopters and can arrest or put anybody in jail constitutionally or not by using force. And he's already said they'll use force. They don't care about your constitutional rights. Your constitutional rights are a piece of paper, your agreement with the government. It's just a piece of paper that protects you from helicopters, from armed tanks, from bullets, from handcuffs, from anything they do illegal. But you've got to abide by these rules, your agreement. I don't have a tank, or even if you don't have a gun, I've got this Constitution. This is your agreement. You can't violate this agreement. It's violating the Constitution. Soldiers fought for me to have these rights to protect me from you. And Colonel Matt Perry is saying, I'm going to use force. That piece of paper I'm going to violate. That's stepping way over the line. You're done. You're toast. No, you're not going to get it. To allow him to stay in office 1 second longer is another second that your Constitution is violated, that you stand the substantial risk of getting arrested or even killed by his unlawful Tennessee Highway Patrol, unethical, unlawful, that violates your Constitution. Institutional misinformation from the top of law enforcement authority, encouraging unconstitutional arrests, rights, violations as policy. He's setting that policy, telling all troopers in the state, if they won't give you ID, arrest them, even though we know it's unconstitutional. We don't care if it's unconstitutional. Wow, he put out that statement. That's what he said himself. That's not what I'm telling you. He said, read the document. That's what he said. And he is over the Highway Patrol. Every time you see a state Highway Patrol car, imagine they can stop you and you say, you have no reason to stop me. They'll say, I'm stopping you anyway. Get out of the car. Do what I tell you. I got a gun. I will kill you and shoot you. Now, they may not say that, but that's what they're doing in effect. You have no rights. We have force, and we'll use force, and we won't recognize any law. Does it sound like Russia? It is much worse. It's surreptitiously, at least in Russia, they know the rules. In America, there is none. So when judges later uphold these arrests, and they do, these arrests that were judicial corruption enters, and today they do every day. These judges will adjudicate that you shouldn't give them ID in the state of Tennessee, falling below the floor of federal protection in order to protect themselves, in order to go along with Matt Perry, who will arrest them. So you have a military invasion by the Highway Patrol using force and helicopters and your tax money to get this mass militarized law enforcement agency that self-admitted is going to violate your constitutional rights. And Tennesseans, I believe you're already awake. Join the channel, subscribe. We're going to fight this, putting out the truth. Nobody tells it like I do. I know this man. I know what a creep he is. I know what a lawless person he is. I know what they will do to you. They've tried to do it to me. They would like to kill me today. But I am a warrior, a fighter. I'm not afraid. I trust in God. I ask for your prayers. Let's fight this man with truthful propaganda, not with violence, with attrition and truthful propaganda against their violation of every constitutional right known to man, using your tax money to perpetrate that against us. How dangerous is that? When judges later uphold these arrests, that's where judicial corruption enters, and it does. It's just a small part of the problem. That's what the Southern Draws Law doesn't tell you, but the judicial corruption will adjudicate that your constitutional rights don't matter. They will go along with Matt Perry. They won't tell you that. I will. I will tell you that. That is the truth. You'll get a judge to enter a ruling against you to legitimize the devaluation of your constitutional rights. You don't have any. If a judge adjudicates, you don't. Without a remedy, there is no right. That is remedies 101. Without a remedy, there's no right. So if the judge adjudicates that you don't have a right, then you don't have a remedy. Therefore, you don't have the Constitution. That's Law School 101. Without a remedy, you don't have a right. You can have any right known to man. You can have the Constitution. But if you don't have a remedy, a mechanism set in place to enforce that right, to say, well, you took that right away, but we're going to give it back to you and say that that was a lawful arrest, and we're going to pay you damages for the time you suffered while you were under arrest and for being kicked. If a judge won't adjudicate that it was an unlawful arrest, then you don't have that right, so the Constitution means nothing. They take that right away from you through the judiciary, effective by the Tennessee Highway Patrol, Colonel Matt Perry, and adjudicated legitimate with your rights taken away, no Constitution, by rogue judges in these courtrooms every day. And when judges later uphold these arrests, that were judicial corruption enters, and they do every day, all day. Willful tolerance of unconstitutional conduct takes away your right. So that is what's going on in Tennessee. You think the city of Portland is dangerous. The city of Portland yesterday, it's in the news, had a ICE enforcement agent have to defend himself against two people, illegal immigrants, that have invaded this country. Tanya Kotek, the governor of Oregon, a propagandist for foreign invaders, a domestic propagandist, a domestic enemy, the governor of Oregon, a domestic enemy of the United States, a domestic enemy of yours. Much like Colonel Mike Perry, the government. People in government power are our enemies. And I'm not saying to shoot them. I'm saying I'm putting out the truth, truthful propaganda. Call your friends, subscribe to the channel, vote them out, put out the truth, tell your friends, call the governor, tell him that we're not going to put up with this kind of stuff. Not by violence, with attrition and truthful propaganda. Attrition is to keep on hammering the truth against their 24/7 news lies, against their government lies. When a president endorses tyranny, tearing families apart, and this is what the governor said. When a president endorses tyranny, families torn apart, and attempts to govern through fear other than shared values, you foster an environment of lawlessness, recklessness. Trust is essential to maintaining communication and the rule of law. My message to the federal government is this: we demand transparency. We demand your cooperation with Portland police and the county district attorney, because we need to investigate this incident effectively and efficiently so we can rebuild trust with our nation's government. Wow. So the governor of Oregon has publicly spoke out against the sovereignty of the United States of America, of your sovereignty, calling good evil, these ICE enforcement agents that are protecting your country from illegal invaders. She has taken their side and trying to demoralize these federal officers that are protecting us in a homegrown invasion that's already taken place in America, and stood up for foreign invaders. Wow. So for votes, she gets these people legalized and gets their votes. Look, I stand up for you, give me votes. So I stay in power, and the public gets humiliated, and the economy gets destroyed, but they're in power and they're not worried about it. They're doing it for votes. The people in government power allow this illegal invasion of foreigners for votes, for power. They don't care. It doesn't hurt them. They build houses. They build walls around their houses. They have your money praying for their private security to protect them against these people that they've illegally let come in this country, that they've let illegally invade this country, and they get their votes and get power, but they're protected from the bad stuff that they do in this country. And they're allowing it for power. Both parties do it. Democrats and Republicans, both of them do it. Republican and Democrat states. Let's fight both of them, not through violence, through voting, through sharing the channel, liking, and through truthful propaganda against the 24/7 hour news stuff. At 2:15 p.m. Thursday, Southeast Portland, Southeast Main Street and 102, Northeast 126th Avenue and East Burnside is where 2 people were shot. The Operation Origin started at Southeast Portland, Southeast Main and 102nd Street, and then these people drove away. They were shot by ICE agents because they used their car as a weapon against the agents. And I've had that literally happen to me. The State Highway Patrol suspended me for defending myself against a car. A car is much more dangerous than a bullet. A bullet's about that big, a whole car hitting you. You can use a car as a weapon. And they defended themselves against a weapon, a car, because the car's trying to run over them. And this is in Portland, Oregon. And then the governor stands up and speaks against the ICE agents. And they said they were Venezuelan illegal people that have come over to this country, and they were trying to effect a lawful arrest. They said that the driver weaponized his vehicle. And the DA, Nathan Vasquez, is looking into this. Good luck with that. You don't have any authority over federal officers. You know, all these states and all these city and county agencies standing up against the authority of federal agencies legally, and I have a doctor of jurisprudence, so I know just a little bit about the law, but it's all political. It's all a bunch of baloney. It has no weight. It's all a bunch of propaganda. The federal government has supremacy. Now, they don't get involved in everything in every state, but they have supremacy. Where there's federal laws involved, then the federal laws are supreme. Federal immigration laws are federal immigration laws. The federal government can come in any state, on any street, anywhere they're legally allowed to be, which is any state, any street, any public sidewalk, anywhere they get a legal federal warrant to go in any house, regardless of any mayor or governor, they have a right under the Supremacy Clause to enforce federal immigration laws. And that's what they're doing. And they have every right to do that. There's nothing states should be able to do to stop them. They claim that they can. The DA, you can look into it all day long. You can't charge these federal officers. But they can only be charged by the federal government. You know, that there was a war back a few years ago, the Civil War between the Confederate soldiers and the Union. The Confederacy was states that were trying to separate themselves from the federal government, wanting to have their own rules and not comply with the Union, which was the federal government. And they fought a war. It was a civil war where, like, these states are trying to say, we don't have to obey the Union. We don't have to obey the federal government. And the Union won that war. They sent federal soldiers down and took over these states, and they won. You have an American flag. The Confederate flag don't fly. It's a losing flag. Thank the good Lord in heaven, the federal government sent troops down and took over. And if these states keep doing what they're doing, the federal government has every right to send federal troops and take over these states. Federal law is supreme. So the Supremacy Clause in the United States Constitution makes federal constitutional law the highest authority when state laws conflict with federal laws. Federal law takes precedence to keep a united legal system and protects constitutional rights nationwide. This ensures consistency across all states and prevents legal confusion. So even if Matt Perry says that your constitutional rights mean little to nothing, guess what, Confederate Mr. Matt Perry? The federal government can send federal troops to arrest your chicken self, you and your daddy and your Tennessee Supreme Court justice, and they can put you in a federal prison for violating the federal Constitution, which is exactly what I think they ought to do. I call on the federal government to send troops to the Tennessee Highway Patrol headquarters and arrest Colonel Matt Perry that has declared, like the Confederacy declared, that the constitutional rights don't apply in Tennessee. Arrest that man. He needs to go to jail. It's dangerous for you to be out right now. Let's see how many people we got in here. Thank you all so very much for watching. We've got just a few: like, share, comment, subscribe, and contribute if you can. So let's see what we got. So the federal government's supreme. The Union Army won the war. April the 9th, 1865. Matt Perry, the Union won. You can't take away my federal constitutional rights. They'll send federal troops down here, and they should. I call on the federal government to arrest Matt Perry. He's a government official who has declared in the state of Tennessee you don't have any federal constitutional rights. He's like the Confederate. He's a Confederate. You done lost. Put him in jail. He ought to be in jail for his promotion and violation of constitutional rights. Somebody send him this video. They won't give me time in a Tennessee courtroom. And they have also invaded your federal courthouses because you have to be licensed to practice law in the state of Tennessee before you can even practice law in a federal courthouse. So in effect, he even controls part of the federal courthouses in the state of Tennessee. Matt Perry and his aunt, that was a former Supreme Court justice, are part of the reason why you don't have federal constitutional rights in the state of Tennessee. They've invaded this country, demoralizing by his own speech your constitutional rights. And I'll read that to you again so you can get it. These people, these invaders, and these people in government power, it's the invaders and people in government power, are putting out propaganda. And they are even having protests here in this city and all over the United States against our federal government, against our federal constitutional rights, and convincing the public that it is all right for people to invade us for votes. And these stupid people are protesting. You know, I am protesting the protesters. And on this channel, we don't go along with the protesters. We protest the protesters. So here's a noisy truck. We protest the protesters. So that's what I'm doing. Like, share, comment, and hopefully you can hear me. I wonder if that's an American truck driver. A lot of foreigners are being deported for driving trucks, and now there's a lot more. There's a lot more jobs for Americans to drive trucks because they're getting rid of a lot of truck drivers, and the wages will start going up. This innocent woman, she wasn't innocent. the people that was killed about 2 days ago in Minnesota that was blocking ICE enforcement agents, and two yesterday were shot in Oregon by ICE enforcement agents. And the news media is trying to say that that our officers that are protecting us from an invasion are wrong. That's not true. She wasn't innocent. She was blocking the road. And people here on Market Square in Knoxville said they're not okay with ICE agents killing innocent people. Well, I'm not okay with you because they weren't innocent. If you're not okay with something, let's tell the truth. It is not innocent to block a road and prevent law enforcement officers from taking illegal, dangerous immigrants out of this country and deporting them for my safety. And how dare you call them, put out your false propaganda. And you can say that, you can protest. I'll protest the protesters. I'm not okay with you. He says he's not okay with us. I'm not okay with you. I'm not okay with the protesters. I'm not afraid to say that. They're trying to make a safe haven in the General Assembly for illegal immigrants. And they do it because they vote for them. Illegal immigrants take our resources. Hospitals are crowded, illegal immigrants. Schools are crowded, illegal immigrants. Somebody's got to pay for that. Given positions in government power above us. Steve Sacrapone, illegal immigrant, came over here illegal to the United States. He's a lieutenant with the Tennessee Highway Patrol and has power over me. He, under Matt Perry, can stop you unlawfully and put you in jail from a foreign country. So even the colonel over the Tennessee Highway Patrol is telling you in writing he's going to violate your constitutional rights. They don't just mean nothing, they're below nothing. He's employing illegal immigrants that he's given immigration status to for votes for the governor who's ever in office or who's ever running for office that will help the Highway Patrol illegally violate your rights, and giving illegal immigrants legal immigration status more power over me and you. That's going on in America now. We have been invaded, and these people are taking over positions of power over us in our government in this state that ignores your constitutional rights. They're given positions of power in government above us. Mr. Guzman, Mr. Steve Sacrapone. Guzman's a lawyer, not born here, not educated here, no birth certificate, no selective service registration, no law school from the United States here. Steve Sacrapone, no birth certificate in the United States, came over here illegally, no selective service registration, a lieutenant with Tennessee Highway Patrol under Matt Perry, who has already made a statement out to the world, to the public, you have no constitutional rights. So you have illegal immigrant, shouldn't be here, given illegal status, given legal status by people like Matt Perry, and that's going to violate your constitutional right. Came over here from another country. That's the truth. Unbridled news. You want to hear it anywhere else? And they have the reason they do it. They have a proxy of voters, and they get illegal immigrants. They're getting illegal immigrants in here to give them legal status to vote for them. So they're doing it for power. They have a proxy of voters, and this is how they get in public office and destroy America. It's not mentioned in the last days, as far as I know. Maybe that's why. I still believe we have a chance. Maybe it's not mentioned specifically for some other reason, but there may be a reason it's not mentioned. There may not be in America in the end time, in the next few days, in the very near future. I don't know. There will not be unless we fight this illegal immigration, this invasion by people in foreign countries, by foreign governments, foreign corporations, and domestic aiders and sympathizers that are buying the propaganda that's being put out that these people are good. They have a proxy of voters that people in government power, that, like the governor, that they give benefits to. If they vote for Governor Bill Lee, they're going to get a benefit. They're going to get a major with the Highway Patrol. They're going to be a high-level person, get paid. They're going to get a promotion. So they're going to vote for who's ever in office. And they know that. Now, they don't write out a contract. It's unspoken. And you can tell how these rogue people get into office. So it's unspoken. And then these people, that are getting a benefit. They don't tell you that, but they go spread the message that Governor Bill Lee is a great man, or the person in public office is a great man, and for you. You don't know that they're doing it, not because they actually believe that, because they're going to get a benefit, because they're helping illegal immigrants get legal immigration to vote for them. And then they may also, to get more proxy, tell the person, well, they know I'm going to get major with the Highway Patrol, and they're going to give me a benefit. So when I get major, because the governor's going to give me that, I'm going to give you a benefit too. I'm going to get you on with the Highway Patrol, or I'm going to give you this government position, or you're going to get this government benefit. All you got to do is help me help the governor win, and I'm going to get a benefit, and I'm going to give one to you. So spread this message for the governor. That's a proxy. They get a huge enough proxy, and it doesn't have to be 1 million voters. It can be 20, 30,000 people that are willing to report a false message. People of high positions, people in the news media, people that have a lot of influence are offered benefits, great benefits, for putting out a message, a false message, to get them elected, and that's their proxy. So the people that are telling you to vote for whoever that's running, maybe Marsha Blackburn, maybe some of these people, are doing it not because it's good for you, it's a lie. They're doing it because they're going to get a benefit from the person in office. They're going to get part of your government services. They're going to get part of your tax money. So they have an ulterior motive to help spread a message, and that's their proxy. A whole bunch of people are going to get a whole lot of benefits. All the government, they're going to own it. So they tell you, hey, vote for this man. He's a Christian. Vote for him. They go around to the churches and promote this ideal that this is who you need to vote for, and sell this to the public. And the news media, they got proxy members in the news media tell you how great this person is and tell you how good they are, and put that out to millions of people all across the country. And then everybody says, well, yeah, they think they're a good person. Everybody thinks they're a good person. And what they're not telling you is that's their proxy. That's their people that are getting a huge benefit, living free off your dime while you're going hungry, while you don't have groceries to buy, while they're letting foreign people in here, giving them food stamps, filling up their grocery basket, while you got to work hard, and they're telling you that these people are good people. That's their proxy. Their proxy lies. Their proxy is only small. It's only a small percentage of the electorate, but they've got a megaphone. They spread out this message. How do you think Bill Haslam got elected? The dirtbag that he is. Because he's got a lot of money to buy a lot of people, to offer him a lot of power, to put out a false message about him. He's got his name on a university that I got a degree from that he never went to. There's no substance to their lies. They'll fall below your constitutional rights. So that proxy puts out a megaphone, blast a message, and blast it, and convinces you and me to vote for them. What I'm telling you to do is don't believe their proxy. Believe me, I'm telling you the truth. They won't tell you that illegal immigration is a problem because they benefit from that problem. It's not a problem for them. It's going to be a problem for you, but they don't care about you. I do. Look at my life. So don't listen to the proxy. And the proxy can be beat if we put out the truth. Somebody tells you to vote for somebody, ask them what benefit that they're getting, or who told them that you need to vote for them, and you'll find the culprit of the problem and the benefit that they're getting. If you follow the trail, it's not too hard to follow. Look at the trail of Colonel Matt Perry that has already said he's going to take away your constitutional rights. The trail is his daddy was the former captain, his aunt is a former Supreme Court justice, and who knows whatever else they have in power, and why he got promoted to putting out these false lies that get all these people in government elected. The good thing for us, and the very good thing for us, is more of us if we stop believing their proxy than there is them. Way more of us. If we get about 25% of the people that didn't participate in the election. We don't need 100% of the people that didn't participate. We need about 25%. And if we get 100% of the people that didn't participate, we wipe them off the map. If we get 25% of the people that didn't participate, with them getting the same vote, the same proxy, the same proxy outreach that they got, we can beat them, which is 25%. It should not be that hard if we get the truth out. If you agree with me about illegal immigration, them taking our resources, then spread the message. Let's get a governor in office and people in office that will help you. These illegal immigrants. And some important things before we close. Use state services for their own that are ours. They're a strain on the economic system on taxpayers. They account for about $150.7 billion of net income loss due to health care, law enforcement, about $150.7 billion illegal immigrants, and these domestic supporters and sympathizers are helping them. That's how much they cost the economy. They take American jobs, cause the cost of your wages to be lower for the same jobs. Trucking has become more pay because they're getting rid of illegal immigrants. Overburdened public service. They are a problem for public safety and security. They make it more dangerous in the United States. They are involved in drug smuggling for illegal profit. They undermine the rule of law, infiltrating our positions of power, as I explained. This is illegal immigration. They are involved in human trafficking. They're a huge road hazard on Tennessee roadways. Just on this road right here, where it gets to Chapman Highway, same road, changes names. This is Henley Street, it changes to Chapman Highway. There was an illegal immigrant that killed a fire chief's son here on this road on Chapman Highway, somebody from another country. They're responsible for a lot of road hazards. And I know when I worked in Jefferson County, there was a fatality where a woman was killed by a illegal immigrant, undocumented illegal immigrant. After he killed her, he was arrested. As soon as he bonded out of jail, he fled back to Mexico. No one doesn't know who he is, undocumented, and they kill people on our roadways and flee back to their own country, never to be seen from again, get by with making our roads dangerous. They're a danger on our public roadways. They have communication barriers. A lot of them we can't even communicate with. We have to punch one. You know, this is America. This is English. We have to use other languages, and it takes time to adapt to their way of life. We shouldn't have to adapt. There's a lot of this is for them. They get abused in detentions because people know they don't have family and friends here. So us deporting them is good for them. They get abused in detention facilities. They're endangering themselves. There is a lot of reasons why we need to enforce illegal immigration laws. And illegal immigration under the federal 287G program, state and local law enforcement officers deputed by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to perform specific federal immigration enforcement functions, acting as a force multiplier to identify and process removable non-citizens, especially those with criminal backgrounds, within their jails or during street-level policing under strict ICE oversight. These officers specialize training and work under formal agreements, MOAIs, in various models like the jail enforcement, JEM, or task force model. So we need to promote our state agencies, state and city agencies, cooperating with the 287G program, going exactly against what the news media and what the Oregon governor and the Oregon district attorney in that county is saying about ICE. And instead of trying to kick ICE out of their cities, we need to have law enforcement and politicians that cooperate with ICE and enact that 287G program and assist them in stopping the invaders. Right here in Knox County, one of the good things about Knox County, I say a lot bad, is they're part of that 287G program that deports illegal immigration. Call the police chief in Knoxville, and he's immigrated from Louisiana in a way, and I'm not against him. Ask him to be a part and assist in this program to deport help us support illegal immigration. Tell them you're for that, or you're going to be run out of your home, run out of your houses. So thank you all so very much for joining me. We'll try to be back on here Monday with another interesting show. If some type of news comes up in a city nearby where we can get to, and hold on, I got some important stuff to tell you. Then we will broadcast live on the scene. Thank y'all. We've had awesome viewership today. Help us get the message out. We're going to fight this illegal invasion by illegal foreigners that are already here invading, and by domestic sympathizers that are fools. And we're going to protest the protesters and put out the truth. Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. We'll be back Monday, or if any news event happens that I can get to, I will broadcast live. So stay tuned. If I go live, I'll try to be boots on the ground on the scene of any live news events I have. If anything happens about protest here in Knoxville, I'll try to show up on the scene, show some of the protesters, try to be as safe as I can. And I won't cause any trouble. I'll just record the news and let you see what's going on. Maybe try to talk to some of the protesters, and maybe try to, I'll put it in a nice way, try to find out why they're so stupid and trying to take over your rights. So let's get a few more likes and shares. Thank y'all so very much for joining. If we find a news event, pay attention. We'll go live, boots on the ground, to some exciting event. Otherwise, we'll be back on here Monday. So we'll show you the beautiful view. Let's get some more likes and shares and subscribe. Spread the message. Let's get rid of the invasion of illegal immigrants to help ourselves and the sovereignty of our country. You don't have a country without borders. Right now, we don't have borders. They've already invaded. Let's get them back over safely and securely, peacefully to their country, and support our federal law enforcement officers. And don't go along with the false propaganda put out by the news media for votes in power that's going to harm America and help people in power get votes from these illegal people and turn this country into a world nation where you no longer have any constitutional rights. Call the governor, call your representative, tell them we want Matt Perry arrested by federal authorities and put in a federal pen for violating our federal constitutional rights and promoting people to high positions, foreigners to high positions in power in the Tennessee Highway Patrol that violate your constitutional rights, and giving them authority over United States citizens, people that came over here illegally, don't have a birth certificate, don't have a selective service registration, and have authority to stop you on the highways right now in the state of Tennessee. And they have the authority under the Colonel Matt Perry, given by him, to violate your constitutional rights. You've seen the statement. That's what he said. So let's look at the beautiful view. Thank you all so very much. Charles Van Morgan. I'm Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. Thrilled to bring to you the truth unbridled. You won't hear anywhere else. We're just getting started. May God bless you all. And God loves you, and I do too. Let's look at the beautiful view. And thank you for your time.